Good morning. I'm Margaret Thatcher, Associate Professor, Department of Medical Surgical Nursing, Sri Balaji College of Nursing, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai. Today I'm going to deal about fracture. Let us see the etiology and risk factors of fracture, mechanical overload of bone, metabolic bone disease, example is osteoporosis, direct force, example moving object strikes body, indirect force, example muscle contraction and stress. Predisposing factors, biological conditions, osteopenia, neoplasms, old age, infection, postmenopausal estrogen loss, and protein energy malnutrition, high risk recreation or employment related activity, incidence, male are mostly affected at the age of 15 to 25 and females at the age of 65 and more. Pathophysiology, fracture. Fractures is due to etiological factors. Muscles attached to bones are disturbed. That leads to muscle spasm. Full, full fracture fragments out of portions. Proximal portions of bone remains in place. Distal displaced. Fracture fragments displayed sideways or overriding. Periosteum and blood vessels of fracture bone disturbed. Soft tissue damages, bleeding from soft tissue and damaged bone endings, hematoma between fractured fragments and beneath periosteum that leads to bone tissue surrounding fracture sites dies. Intense inflammatory response, vasodilation, edema, pain, loss of function, infiltration of WBC. Let us see the types of fracture. Fracture can be described and classified according to type, communication or non-communication with external environment and location of the fracture. Stable fracture, some of the periosteum is intact across the fracture. Unstable fracture, grossly displaced. Types of fracture, that is bone fracture, open fracture. Open fracture is otherwise called compound fracture. Breaks in the skin over bone injury, grading of bone fracture, grade 1, sound is smaller than 1 centimeter, contamination is minimal, grade 2, wound is larger than 1 centimeter, contamination is moderate, grade 3, wound exceeds 6 to 8 centimeter, there is extensive damage to soft tissues, nerve, tendon, there is high degree of contamination. Closed fracture, simple fracture, it has intact skin over the site of injury. Types of fracture, appearance, burst fracture. Burst fracture is multiple pieces of bone, mainly in the vertebra. Comminuted fracture, more than one fracture line, more than two bone fragments. Fragments crushed, the smaller fragments appear to be complete fracture. It's a break across entire section of bone dividing into distant fragments. Displaced fracture, the fragments out of normal position at fracture site. Incomplete fracture, that is, fracture occurs through only one cortex of bone, usually non-displaced. Non-displaced fracture, fragments alignment at fracture sites. Linear fracture, longitudinal fracture. Fracture line is intact caused by minor to moderate force. Periosteum is not torn away from the bone. Oblique fracture, fracture line occurs at 45-degree angle across longitudinal axis of bone. Spiral fracture. Spiral fracture, the line of the fracture extends in the spiral direction along the shaft of bone. Fracture line result from twisting force. Stellate fracture, fracture line radiate from one central point. Transverse fracture, fracture line occurs at 90-degree angle to longitudinal axis of bone. Interarticular fracture, the fracture extending to the articular surface of the bone. General description, that is avulsion fracture. In avulsion fracture, bone fragments are torn away from the body of the bone at the site of attachment of ligaments or tendon. This is the picture shows the avulsion fracture. Compression fracture, bone cracks as a result of loading force applied to its longitudinal axis. Greenstick fracture, that is incomplete fracture in which one side of the cortex is broken and the other is flexed but intact. Impacted fracture, it is a comminuted fracture in which one fragment is driven into other. Pathologic fracture, it is spontaneous fracture due to an underlying pathologic condition. Anatomic location, Pulley's fracture, fracture within the last inch of distal radius. Potts fracture. Potts fracture is a type of ankle fracture that is characterized by breaking one or more bony prominence on the side of the ankle, that is medial malleolus or posterior malleolus of tibia. Torus fracture. Torus fracture is also known as buckling fracture. They are incomplete fracture of the shaft of long bones, which is characterized by bulging of the cortex, transpondral fracture, separation of cartilaginous joint surface from the main shaft bone. Bone healing. Self-healing of bone occurs in the following stages: hematoma or inflammatory stage, granulation tissue formation or fibrous cartilage formation. Stage 3 is callus formation. Stage 4 is ossification. Stage 5 consolidation, and stage 6 is remodeling. This is the picture shows, the first picture shows the hematoma formation. Second picture shows fibrocartilaginous callus formations. In that, internal callus, fibrous tissues and cartilage. Then new blood vessels started, then external callus formation, spongy bone trabecule. Then bony callus formation, the bony callus of spongy bone. Then bone remodeling is heel fracture. Next stage, that is hematoma formation, liquid to semi-solid clot, time 1 to 3 days, stabilized, necrosis due to decreased blood supply, collateral circulation regained, vascular dilation occurs, phagocytic cell migrate to the area. Stage 2, granulation tissue formations or fibrocartilage formations. During the stage, active phagocytosis observe the product of local necrosis. Hematoma converts to granulation tissue. Granulation tissue, that is consists of new blood vessels, fibroblasts, that is the type of cell that synthesize the extracellular matrix and collagen, and osteoblasts produce the basis for the new bone substance called osteoid during 3 to 14 days injury. Stage 3 is callus formation as minerals, calcium, phosphorus and magnesium a new bone matrix are deposited in the osteoid. An unorganized network of bone is formed that is woven about the fractured parts. Granulation tissue matrix will convert into callus. Callus is primarily composed of cartilage, osteoblasts, calcium, and phosphorus. Duration 2 to 6 weeks. Proper alignment is essential during this stage by traction or cast. Callus formation can be verified by X-ray. Stage 4, that is ossifications. Bone develops in this stage osteogenesis. Ossification of callus occurs from 3 to 6 months after the fracture and continues until the fracture has healed. Callus ossification is sufficient to prevent movement at the fracture site when the bones are gently stressed. Patient can be converted from skeletal traction to cast, or the cast can be removed to allow limited mobility. Stage 5 is consolidation. As callus continues to develop, the distance between bone fragments diminishes and eventually closes. This stage is called consolidation and ossification continues 6 to 8 months. Then remodeling. Remodeling is excessive bone tissue is reabsorbed in the final stage of bone healing and union is completed. Gradual return of the injured bone to its pre-injury structural strength and shape occurs. Bone remodel in response to physical stress. Initially, stress is provided through exercise 8 months to 1 year. Factors affecting bone healing. Favorable factors. Locations is good blood supply at the bone ends. Flat bones. Minimal damage to soft tissue. Anatomical reduction possible. Effective immobilization. Weight bearing on long bones. Proper nutrition. Hormone functioning. Growth hormone. Thyroid. Calcitonin and vitamin D. Unfavorable factors. Fragments widely separated, fragments distracted by traction, severe comminuted fracture, severe damage to soft tissue, bone loss from injury or surgical excision, motion, that is movement or rotation at fracture site as a result of inadequate fixation, infection, impaired blood supply to one or more bone fragments, location, decreased blood supply with sharp, smoking and alcoholism, poor nutrition. Drugs, corticosteroids inhibit the repair, age, elderly persons heal more slowly, intra-articular fracture, avascular necrosis, metabolic bone disease, local malignancy. Clinical manifestation: deformity due to loss of bone continuity. Deformity is the cardinal sign of fracture. Edema or swelling due to accumulation of serous fluid at the fracture site and extravasation of blood into the surrounding tissues. Bruising, ecchymosis due to subcutaneous bleeding at the fracture site. Muscle spasm can cause limb shortening, pain, continuous pain due to spasm, overriding of fracture fragments or damage to the adjacent structures, tenderness. Loss of function result from pain and discontinuity. Paralysis may cause due to nerve damage. Neurovascular changes due to damage to peripheral nerves. The associated vascular structure, tingling or no palpable pulse distal to the fracture, shock, frank and occult hemorrhage can lead to shock, repetition, grating sound occurs if the limb is moved gently. Testing for crepitus can produce further tissue damage, so should minimized as much as possible. Warmth over injured area resulting from the increased blood flow to the area, impairment or loss of sensation or paralysis in affected area, evidence of fracture on X-ray film. Diagnosis, history collection, physical examination, X-ray and CT scan. Management goals, assessment of injury, emergency management, reduction and stabilization of fracture, monitoring complication, eventual remobilization and rehabilitation, pharmacological management and nutritional supplement. Through initial assessment, assess the causes of fracture, types of fracture, and severity of fracture, assess early complication, arterial damage, pain, pallor, paresthesia, absent pulse, poor capillary refill, and cyanosis. Neurovascular assessment, color and temperature, cyanotic and cool or cold, arterial insufficiency, cyanotic and warm, venous insufficiency, capillary refill, peripheral pulses, decrease indicates vascular insufficiency, check for edema, sensation, motor function, and pain. B. Emergency management of fracture. Immobilize any suspected fracture. Support the extremity above and below when moving. Assess color, warmth, circulation and movement. Suggested temporary splints, cardboard stick, rolled sheets. Apply splint if forearm fracture is suspected or the suspected fractured arm may be bandaged to the chest. If the fractured extremity is a leg bone, the unaffected extremity can be used as a splint by bandaging both legs together. Open fracture is managed by covering it with clean or sterile gauze to prevent contamination. Do not attempt to straighten or realign or reproduce a fractured extremity. Move the affected limb as little as necessary. Elevate the injured part, decrease edema. Apply cold packs to reduce hemorrhage, edema, and pain. Fracture reduction, bone setting. Reduction it is referred to restoration of the fractured fragments to its actual anatomic element, that is close reduction and open reduction. This is the picture shows close reduction. Close reduction means it is a non-surgical manual realignment of bone fragment to their previous anatomic position. Extremities is held in the desired position while the physician applies a cast, splint or other device. Traction and counter traction are manually applied to the bone fragments to restore position, length and alignment for immobilization and fracture reduction. It is usually performed under local anesthesia or general anesthesia. X-ray is obtained to verify that the bone fragments are correctly aligned. Open reduction. Open reduction is open reduction and internal fixation. This is the picture shows open reduction and internal fixation of femoral shaft, right upper leg. Orientation leaves the pelvic area, femoral head and femoral shaft in open reduction under the surgery is a 6 volts ATA buttress plates and screwing plate into place, medial inner side. The surgeon makes the incision and realign the fracture fragments under direct visualization. It is a treatment of choice for compound fracture or accompanied by severe neurovascular injury. Open reduction is usually performed in combination with internal fixation for femoral and joint fractures. Screws, plates, pins, wires, rods or nails may be used to maintain alignment of fractured fragments. Before the surgery, patient will get a course of prophylactic intravenous antibiotics, internal fixation devices or biologically in inert metal devices, stainless steel, beryllium or titanium. Variety of internal fixation devices are available, that is plates and nails, intramedullary rods, transfixation screws, prosthetic implants, extremer, head and hip. External fixation. This is the picture shows the external fixation in the tibia and fibula. The screws are placed into the bone above and below the fracture, and the device is attached to the screws from outside the skin, where it may be adjusted to realign the bone. Plaster cast, rigid immobilizing device made up of plaster of Paris or fiberglass, provides immobilization of the fracture to correct a deformity, to apply uniform pressure, to support and stabilize. Cast types: long-term cast, short-term cast, arm cylindrical cast, leg cylindrical cast, short leg cast, long leg cast, hip spica, body cast, sugar tongue cast, posterior sling cast. This is the picture shows the first A is shows short term cast, and second picture shows long arm cast, and third picture shows the arm cylindrical cast, cylinder cast. Then the first picture shows the short leg cast, that is below the knee up to the toes. Then leg cylinder cast, it's mid thigh to the ankle, and long leg cast, it's short below the buttocks to up to the toes. Posterior sling cast and sugar tongue cast. Then thermoplastics, comfortable, lightweight, strong, durable, easy to move, water resistant and permeable, can be reheated for additional molding, don't require padding, not as comfortable as plaster or fiberglass, cost is higher. Procedure: preparation for casting, explanation of procedure, skin preparation, apply stockinity over padding, casting material submerged in water, squeeze excess water, apply on injured part. It is composed of anhydrocalcium sulfate embedded in gauze. As the gauze dries, a thermochemical reaction occurs in which the calcium sulfate recrystallizes and harden within 15 minutes. Fingertips should not press into gauze. The fresh gauze should never cover with blanket because air cannot circulate and heat builds up. Nursing management: allow the gauze to air dry, usually 24 to 72 hours. Handle a wet gauze with the palms, not to the fingertips, to avoid dents. The continuation of nursing management: keep the gauzed extremity elevated using a pillow to reduce swelling. Turn the extremity for equal drying. Do not use dryer for plaster gauze. Encourage mobility and range of motion exercise. Traction: application of pulling force to an injured body part or extremity while a counter traction pulls up the opposite direction. Purpose: reduce, realign and promote healing of fracture, decrease muscle spasm, prevent soft tissue damage, prevent or treat deformity, rest on inflamed or painful joint, reduce and treat dislocation, prevent contracture. Sliding traction: Exact weight required is determined by trial. For the fracture of femoral shaft on initial weight of 10% of body weight, footed as elevator so that the body slides in opposite direction. 1 inch, that is 2.5 centimeter for each one lobe, that is 0.46 kg of traction weight. Types of traction on application: skin traction and skeletal traction. Sliding traction: under the skin traction, when the weight of all or part of the body acting under the influence of gravity is utilized to provide counter traction. Skin traction: traction forces applied over a large area of skin, applied over limb distal to fracture site, used for short-term treatment, that is 48 to 72 hours. Tapes, boots, splints are applied directly to the skin and maintain alignment, assist in reduction and to help diminish muscle spasm in the injured extremity. Traction weight 5 to 10 lobes, that is 2.3 to 4 kgs. Common skin tractions: Buck's traction, Hamilton-Russell traction, Gallows or Brayon's traction, modified Brayon tractions, pelvic traction and Dunlop traction. Buck's traction: a foam boot is applied to client's affected limb and attached to weight that is suspended off the foot of the bed, used for fracture femur, knee or back. Can be used unilaterally or bilaterally. Check every fourth hourly for decreased peripheral vascular flow, peroneal nerve deficit, pressure necrosis, and allergic reaction towards adhesive material. Hamilton-Russell traction used for fracture of hip or femur. A broad soft sling is placed under the knee. Brayon's gallows traction: the treatment of fracture shaft femur in children up to age of 2 years. Weight of child should be less than 15 to 18 kg. Pelvic traction used for conservative management of IVDP. The amount by which foot end should be elevated depends upon patient's weight. More heavy the patient's, more should be elevation. Dunlop traction used in fracture of humerus, useful when flexion of elbow causes circulatory embracement with loss of radial pulse. Apply skin traction to forearm, abduct shoulder about 45 degree. The elbow is flexed 45 degree. Skeletal traction. Skeletal traction using pin or wire, 7 to 15 pounds, 2.3 to 20.4 kg, more frequently used in lower limb fracture, should be used for those cases in which skin traction is insufficient, generally used when more weight is needed to give traction to treat fracture conservatively. Sites: upper tibial, lower femoral, lower tibial, calcaneus, olecranon and metacarpal. Complication: infection, destruction at fracture site, physical damage and nerve injury. This is the picture shows spinal traction. Cervical traction: skin traction, that is head halter. In skin traction, cruciate tongs, cone or bottle tongs. Head halter traction: simple type cervical traction, management of neck pain. Weight should not exceed 3 kg initially, can only be used a few hours at a time. Head end should be elevated to give counter traction. Cuticle tongue must incise skin and drill cortex to place, rotate metal traction loop so touches skull in mid-sagittal plane, place at the line connecting tips of mastoid process on the both sides. Nursing management. Always ensure that the weights hand freely and do not touch the floor. Never remove the weights without doctor's order. Maintain proper body alignment. Ensure that the pulleys and the ropes are properly functioning and fastened by typing square knot. Observe and prevent food drop, provide food plate, provide pin-side tag for client in skeletal traction. Use of chlorhexidine is the most effective normal saline, can be used also. Promote skin integrity. Use special mattress if possible. Provide frequent skin care. Assist pin entrance and cleanse the pin with chlorhexidine solution. Turn and repositions within the limits of traction. Care of client interaction, temperature, the extremity infections, ropes and freely, then check the alignments, circulation checks, type and location of fracture, increased fluid intake, overhead trapeze, no weights on bed or floor. Drug therapy, central and peripheral muscle relaxant, and cyclobenzaprine, open fracture that is tetanus and diphtheria tetanus immunoglobulin, bone penetrating antibiotic, example cephalosporin. Nutritional therapy, diet, protein, 1 gram per kg body weight, vitamin B, C, D, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, fluids, fibers, early complication, nerve injury, infection, compartment syndrome, Walkman's contracture, fat embolism syndrome, deep vein thrombosis and pulmonary embolism, COS syndrome, traumatic or hypovolemic shock. Then 6 clinical manifestations like paresthesia, pain, pressure raises, pallor, paralysis, pulse diminish. Long-term complication, joint stiffness or post-traumatic arthritis, avascular necrosis, non-functional union, delayed union, non-union, fibrous union, malunion, complex regional pain syndrome, and disuse. Nursing management, nursing diagnosis, risk for peripheral neurovascular dysfunction, acute pain, risk for infection, risk for impaired skin integrity, impaired physical mobility, ineffective therapeutic